Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we are currently finishing up our shipping container. We mostly at this point just need to do the doors, which of course, well, we don't need this anymore, will look about like that. So looking at that, there's a couple of very basic things. First, let's go ahead and grab this, duplicate that, separate it out, and then we'll delete this face. And then we'll grab this, create an edge loop right down the middle. That's obviously step one, because this thing has symmetry there. However, it looks to me, if we can zoom in, it gets very blurry, but it looks to me like there's actually a bit of a lip here in these depressions. And there's like hinges here, but I don't think we're gonna go that far. So rather than doing one there, let's just go ahead and do two and scale it down to be about this big, maybe a little smaller. Yeah, about like, well, we'll make it be exactly 0.1, I think, apart. That's close enough. Okay, well, the cat has decided that it is feeding time, so unfortunately I have to let her out, so sorry about this, but I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and I'm messing with my headphone jack right now because hang on, I'm gonna just unplug it and plug it back in. There we go. Cat messes everything up. Okay, let's go ahead and then extrude this out to be, actually, I changed my mind. Let's extrude these in. Not a lot, just a little bit. 0.025. About like that. We'll leave these faces. Those will be fine. Let's go ahead and put in a pair of loop cuts. Actually, let's put in 4 loop cuts. About like that. Because we need to approximate these. Now, those are pretty narrow, and they're also located, if I can make it less blurry, they're also located about 1/3 up each, although there's more space here than there is here. So that's interesting. So let's go ahead and just, for now, grab these edge loops, scale them on the z-axis to be 0.4 is actually pretty close. On the z-axis to be 0.4. And then I feel like we need to grab these and move them up about 0.1. Actually, 0.15 was pretty good. And then 0.15 down. So that way there's a little bit more space up here and a little less space here. And then we just intrude these about 0.025. Make sure we're not hitting any corrugation there, but we have a nice, a reasonably thick lip here to work with. So yeah, that should be fine. That gets us our doors. And then we basically just need these handles at this point. Although these are still thinner, I think, than what we have here. We can just grab these faces, but I want to do it here. And then scale it down maybe another 0.75. So another 25% reduction. About like that. And then as far as these handles go, where do they start? They start up here, and then they just go all the way down. So they start at the ceiling and go all the way to the floor. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So maybe they're not handles then, because that's not where it opens at. Do we want to just leave it though? As is? Might be doable. Because, I mean, that would be reasonably high poly to do that. I mean, that hasn't stopped us before. Yeah, I think we'll just leave it the way it is right now. And we'll just call that a day. So let's go ahead and take all of this, join it all together, and then we will go ahead and remove doubles. Because look at this thing is already 736 faces. If we have dozens of these, I mean, that won't be that much still. But it's fine. That looks enough like a shipping container, I think. So we'll go ahead and give that a material, and we'll call that shipping container. And for right now, we'll just make it be essentially the same blue color that we've got here. That seems to be a relatively standard color for shipping containers, even though they are multicolored. So, it's not that vibrant. Yeah, it's kind of a deeper blue. So maybe our hue is about right, but we need to reduce our saturation and our value a little bit. Something kind of like that. That looks about the same, says the colorblind guy. That's something we can always adjust later. This is kind of a little too purpley though, isn't it? Again, says the colorblind guy. Let's make it kind of more like that. That seems fine. So there we go. There are our 4 parcel types. And they should be reasonably easy to tell apart at a glance. So go ahead and import that. There we go. And then in our meshes, we can go ahead and bring the parcels out here and start working. Oh, I didn't rename 2 of them. I should do that. It's a habit that I really need to be in, but I'm kind of not. So we're going to call this crate, and we're going to call this shipping container. There we go. Excellent. Now we'll re-import that, and then we'll bring this up over here. And obviously, compared to our building hexes, they are huge. Like, absolutely enormous. But let's go ahead and real quick go into here. And I would like to put in some materials here. And make these materials essentially, like, I like the way they look right now. They look pretty good, all things considered. Let's go ahead and rotate them 180 degrees around the y-axis. That was position. Rotation 180 degrees around the y-axis so we can see the fronts. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually, as is. That said, I do want there to be some normals, at least for the crate and the shipping container. So I'm going to go ahead and create ourselves some materials here. So we'll do a folder, parcel materials. There we go. And then we will create a new material. And we'll call this envelope. And it will be, you know, this color, this little off-white kind of creamy color. We'll make it a little bit more off-white. Sure, about like that. Can't even tell the difference when we put it on. At least I can't. You might be able to. Like I said before, I'm colorblind. So we'll go ahead and create a new border material. And we'll just grab this color. Now, that's obviously substantially lighter than the color that we had before. Right? BE B79C? Is that the same thing? No. BFBCB0. We'll just duplicate this. There we go. The reason I think why this is so much brighter is because of the specularity, is my guess. So, like, if we were to make it perfectly smooth, yeah. Or perfectly smooth this direction perhaps would be the better way to do it. But we would want this to be probably albedo alpha. Yeah, that would do the trick. Yeah, should be fine. And then for the envelope, we're going to do actually exactly the same thing and just copy this hex value. There we go. Make sure those are applied. Okay, so there we go. We've got those. Now we need our crate material. So let's go ahead and create a C# script, a material, and we'll call this crate. Now, we're going to have a small problem here, and that is that the meshes are not currently UV unwrapped. But we'll grab this wood color because I actually really like this color. I think that color works very, very well. Again, says the colorblind guy. Well, we'll make it an albedo alpha. And otherwise, this seems fine. Now, I do want to give this a normal map. So let's go ahead and give this just water waves large or water waves small. Yeah, that'll do. Now, obviously, that does nothing. Now, why is that? Well, it's like I said before, there's no normal map there. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but we're just going to select everything, go to Shading UVs, UV Mapping, Cube Projection. It's basically a cube. I'm sure it'll be fine. That doesn't look like wood at all. But I just want to make this be a very subtle effect. So, kind of like that. That'll do for now. Now, we'll make it look more like wood later on, I'm sure, when we're doing art passes, but for now, that'll be just fine. And then we'll go ahead and create another material, shipping container. And we'll make this be... Actually, we could just grab this color off of here. If I were to fire up GIMP, and from there, we just bring in this picture. From there, we just bring in this picture, copy image. It didn't want to drag and drop, but we can go ahead and then just pick up, say, this color, which is not really in shadow, but not really being lit. I think that's pretty close to its base color. There we go. We got that color. And we realistically don't need that anymore. And let's come on in here. And we'll make that be our shipping container color. And we'll put that onto here. And that's actually almost exactly the same. Very little difference. Interesting. Now we do want there to be some metallic on here. Like realistically, this should maybe be on specular setup. I don't know. We'll leave it on standard for now. And we'll say about 0.775 maybe. For specularity. There should be some specularity, but we'll see what this looks like when we add the normal map. But once again, we need to UV unwrap it. It's still basically a cube shape, so we'll just cube projection because I'm lazy. Re-import that, and there's our normal map. Again, it's not really what we're looking for, but it's close enough to get the job done if we make it subtle enough. Maybe around 0.25, something like that. Just add a little bit of detail there. That's maybe not enough detail. It's 0.3 on the crate, so maybe like 0.4 for the shipping container. Yeah, something like that. And then let's just adjust our smoothness here until we get a value that I actually like. Yeah, something like around there. Okay, so we're going to need to make these into some prefabs. So let's go ahead and create a folder, and we're going to just call this parcel. These aren't really parcels. These are just representations of them. They're not going to contain the parcel script. So we'll call these parcel graphics. Okay, now let's create an empty game object. And that can be positioned at 0, 0, 0, like so. And then we'll just put the crate in there. And then we'll call this crate. Well, we'll call it crate graphics. And then the crate itself should be at 0 there. And it's a cube. Its rotation technically doesn't matter. We'll just 0 all that out. And we'll drag that in there. Excellent. And create an empty. We'll call this parcel. Well, no, we'll call it parcel graphics. Place it at 0, 0, 0. Bring in the parcel. Place that at 0, but the rotation here does actually matter. One thing I would like to do is select all of these and apply the rotation and scale. Like so. Yeah, I was afraid of that. We're going to have to do these again, but that's okay. However, it is time for a cut here, so I'm going to go ahead and put one in. Next episode, we'll make these prefabs. Subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.